What's up, everybody? This is your boy Jackson. Welcome back to the Drop That Podcast, where we dive into fight talk, boxing, MMA, film and television, also pro wrestling and hip hop. But on today's particular episode, we're going to get into wrestling. I know we've been doing wrestling and fight talk, but because if we look at it, it's only been fights, MMA and boxing, and pro wrestling that's been going on weekly. But I promise you, we're going to get into some hip-hop. I want to hear everything y'all motherfuckers got to say when it comes down to hip-hop. Last episode, we were just critiquing Drake's album. But this time, we're going to do wrestling. Wrestling. Here we go. A lot of shit has happened in just 1 week. 1 week. You know what? Let's get into AEW first because we don't have too much to talk about when it comes down to AEW. Just announced. Sting. The man himself. The icon. Multi-NWA champion, multi-WCW champion, a little bit short stint of a run in WWE, but it's been okay. He's been holding us down during the pandemic when it comes down to AEW, doing things with Darby Allin and so forth. He just announced he's officially retiring this first quarter of 2024. He stated his last match will be AEW Revolution 2024 since I believe it was 29, was it? I think it was 2020. Yeah, I believe it was 2020 his first match. Or was it 2021? Don't get me wrong. It might be 2021. AEW Revolution was his first match with the company, and he's going to hang it up for good this coming AEW Revolution. Sad to see him go. As far as Sting goes, it goes back like a ton for me. Technically, as far as my age go, I seen him back in WCW. Not the Crow version of him. I love the Crow version of him. He was killing this shit for a whole year battling the NWO. Like, he's the most, like, you would have thought him and The Undertaker were the most iconic figures and characters that didn't have to say shit and was so powerful. It's sad to say that we will never get that match. And the crazy thing is, somebody put up a post about them together, not facing each other, obviously, but I believe it was WrestleMania 31, if I'm not mistaken. It was the WrestleMania where Triple H battled Sting and The Undertaker battled the legendary Bray Wyatt, rest in peace. And it's so weird how we could have had that match. It was in the palm of our hands, and for the first time ever, they were both in the same stadium, same event, different matches. We could have had it. We could have had it because later that year, Sting would go on to face Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship and get injured in the process, and pretty much had to hang it up on his run with WWE, which was sad to say. But, you know, he's finally hanging it up. He's approaching his 70s. Some people don't want him to go. WWE Hall of Famer Booker T stated he never wants him to quit. I think Booker is being a little bit selfish. I'm a huge fan of Booker T and Harlem Heat, but he's a little bit selfish. But aside from that, you know, in WCW, Sting was killing it. He was freaking killing it. His iconic United States Championship Finals match against Meng, where he hopped up in the air and gave him a damn deep DDT for the win. Another match. His contributions to Fall Brawl, War Games. I mean, this guy was War Games, especially when there was a bogus thing out and they thought it was him, and he did not, you know, it wasn't. He made it clear it wasn't him, and he showed up at Fall Brawl, gave everybody a Stinger splash, and said, stick it. And that's when he went to his Crow phase, where he went iconically, you know, taking on NWO from the rafters. His iconic match at Starrcade with Hollywood Hulk Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. His run as world champion. Very crazy. Very crazy. You know, It's gonna be like really really sad to go. We never got that tag team new era match with him and the Ultimate Warrior as partners since they were good friends. We never got the Undertaker versus Sting match that we wanted, but what can we say? But I hope all the best for him. Hope he enjoys his family. It's well deserved, and I hope it's a really big figure. If in my opinion, who should be his final opponent, since is jogging everybody in their brain right now, I would say who we're gonna transition to is Chris Jericho, Lionheart Chris Jericho, the Ocho, the Demo God, first undisputed champion in history. It's very well stated. Defeated The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin at the 2001 Vengeance pay-per-view to capture the Undisputed Championship. And let's not shy away from this because I'm a big fan of Austin and The Rock. But he also defended it against them in the next 2 months. Royal Rumble, beat The Rock. No Way Out, beat Austin. Beat him again. But he's been bashing WWE ever since that big NXT and AEW Dynamite showdown with each other for ratings, which clearly NXT won, but Jericho said it was a quote-unquote a fuck you AEW by bringing in The Undertaker, John Cena, who else? Paul Heyman, you name it. They all were there. The big dogs were there to jock up these ratings, and he think it was a big fuck you because he wanted Tony Khan to do the same thing, bring in like Mike Tyson, Shaquille O'Neal. There was one more person. Can't off the top of my dome. I can't remember because in the end of the day, none of these people had anything to do with wrestling. I mean, what are you gonna bring Shaq for? Shaq is busy being a president at Reebok. Mike Tyson is busy training former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou for his matchup against Tyson Fury next week. So why would you be asking for these people? They're too busy. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? You going to bring back Dennis Rodman? It doesn't really matter. This is where I disagree with Jericho. Jericho, I'm a huge fan of his, but this is where I got to disagree with him because at the end of the day, okay, let's say it was a big fuck you to AEW by bringing in the big top legends to NXT to beat you in the ratings. They started with some stories. You know what I'm saying? Dominic Mysterio was in the NXT Championship in the main event. You know what I mean? You had Braun Breaker versus Carmelo Hayes. Now, this is where, you're talking about that, but fuck that day. That's one day out of this entire year. Oh, we're going to go head to head. I mean, what more do you want? You moved NXT to Tuesdays. You know what I mean? They got out of Wednesdays because you beat their ass. Now they're on the Tuesdays and you think you could run Tuesdays, and look what they did. They made you look bad. It's not about that. Look what's happening after. They're generating stories. You know what I'm saying? They're generating stories to go on to Crown Jewel, to go on to Survivor Series, to go on to Royal Rumble, to go on to Elimination Chamber, to go on to WrestleMania 40. What is AEW doing? Look what their Dynamite is. Their Dynamite sucked. I mean, yeah, got some good title changes. Orange Cassidy getting the International Championship back. Nice to freshly squeezed. Shakira actually, Hikaru Shida, she got the AEW Women's Championship from Saraya. That was great. Good for her. You know what I'm saying? But what are you doing now? Who's in the running for the AEW Women's Championship? Who do you care? You know what I'm saying? Who's going up? Right now the only story that's carrying this shit is MJF versus Jay White for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship at Full Gear at the Forum, November 18 on pay-per-view. You're not doing anything. That's what Tony's not doing. He's not doing any fucking story. MJF is carrying this shit with Jay White. Anybody he steps in the ring with, he's carrying it. He's carrying it. You're just going great matches. Okay. You're not keeping them interested. But it's on you, bro. Now we're going to move on. Since we got our AEW out of the way, we're going to get into WWE. Woo! Now, what do we have to dive into when it comes down to WWE? Oh, We got a lot of shit to dive into WWE. Let's get into it. So, high on demand Survivor Series tickets. They have to extend the pay-per-view. They just made it clear that War Games is returning. I hope it's better than last year. You only have one story to carry. This one you have multiple. So, we got a lot of things we can do with War Games, but it just got extended to over 15,000 for attendance at Survivor Series at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. That's huge. Why is that? Why the fuck are we getting so ready with high on demand tickets for Survivor Series? Can it be the recently medically cleared Legends Killer, aka Viper, Randy Orton? Because now there are some new branding for him and new merchandise has just been approved. He's coming. Can he come in Crown Jewel? Maybe. Can he come at the Survivor Series? Maybe. But imagine this, Survivor Series at the premium live event. We don't just get the returning Randy Orton. We get the returning CM Punk. Now, there's a lot of speculation. Can it be about CM Punk coming back to WWE? It'll be massive to come back in Chicago. I mean, you already got a great War Games coming. You already got great stories, great championship matches. You got multiple stories. But what are you going to do when you got it's clearly that CM Punk is not going to get an undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. But who needs a great dance partner? Seth freaking Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins is scheduled to face Drew McIntyre at Crown Jewel. I don't see Drew actually getting that, but we'll dive into your picks for Crown Jewel in about a week. I definitely want to see whose picks is what, but it's interesting. It's very, very fucking interesting because if CM Punk comes to Survivor Series, it's hometown crowd. He does very well in Chicago. Everybody knows this. Do you? But imagine if we got that. You can stretch it out. Maybe Randy comes, returns at Crown Jewel, and then CM Punk returns at Survivor Series, or both, or neither one. I don't think Crown Jewel needs it. Crown Jewel we'll get into it. It's got a lot of matches that got announced, and I think it's going to be superb to see what they do, right? But it's a high on demand for attendance for a reason. I don't think it's just bullshit. People probably speculate CM Punk returning. Some people say that now that he got fired from AEW over a month ago, he can't even talk to anybody. We don't know the contents of this contract. We don't know what he was granted just to be fired. Contracts are solidified. You know what I'm saying? If a contract states I gotta be in this company for a year, you gotta give me $1 million fucking dollars, but I gotta fulfill my contract. If you break that fucking contract and fire me, you owe me money, bitch. Because I didn't ask to be fired and I didn't quit. So, we don't know the contents of this contract. Could be good, could be bad. Can he be talking? Maybe. This is where we need kayfabe back. We don't need, social media blasting shit because it defeats the element of surprise, but that's beside the point. Also, we just got word that Triple H is now head of creative control thanks to TKO, also Endeavor. Ari Emanuel gave creative control all to Triple H. I fucking love it because you got a guy from the Attitude Era, 14-time world champion, knows stories, gives stories, not selfish, literally threw people on a pedestal when it comes down to defeating him at WrestleMania, not other than Triple H. He's got creative control and I fucking love it. He just created a segue now for Raw and SmackDown to collide against each other. New general managers have been appointed. You got Adam Pearce at Monday Night Raw And now you got the newly signed Nick Aldis at SmackDown. Some people don't know him. He was known as Magnus at Impact Wrestling, multi-time world champion. Love it. Also known as Mickie James' husband. Fucking love it. Now we got Raw and SmackDown. Now we're going to collide against each other. I love it where he's going with this. I just want to see what more he can do with NXT. NXT is starting to dry out a little bit, but Raw is getting spicy. SmackDown is getting spicy. We just got Bianca Belair returning, and we still don't know when is Jade Cargill's debut going to be and what brand, right? If it's NXT, Raw, SmackDown, maybe even Crown Jewel. It's crazy. It's crazy things. And speaking of Crown Jewel, look what just got announced. But before we got that, SmackDown. We just got new undisputed tag team champions get crowned. It was the former champions of the Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. They regained the titles from Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, thanks to none other than Jay's brother Jimmy. And look who returned the favor. Jey Uso just returned the favor and wiped the fuck out of Jimmy Uso. I thought it was hilarious. Now, here's the crazy shit. When Nick Aldis actually threw out Adam Pearce and Jey Uso from the building because they were not supposed to be on the SmackDown programming. And okay, well, what about your boy Jimmy? He's fucking costing championships on Raw and getting away with it. So clearly Nick got a little bit more to learn. But Adam has been running this bitch, solo, sometimes with Sonya Deville. During the whole pandemic, he's been holding this shit down. So now he gets a little break and he gets a little promotion as well. So I don't know. This doesn't seem like, everybody's speculating that it's going to be a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Jey Uso War Games against Judgment Day's Finn Balor and Damian Priest, and the Bloodline Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. I personally do not think that shit's going to happen. My favorite Survivor Series match, other than Diesel versus Bret Hart at the 95 Survivor Series, is also a 95 Survivor Series match, the Wild Card match. I stated this on a different episode. The Wild Card match, when it was Shawn Michaels teaming with his arch nemesis Psycho Sid, his friend Ahmed Johnson, and his other enemy, British Bulldog, versus his good friend Razor Ramon, rest in peace. Oh, Bulldog, rest in peace. Going against his good friend Razor Ramon, Owen Hart, rest in peace, Yokozuna, rest in peace, and Shane Douglas. That's called a wild card match because everybody hated each other. And they're teaming with each other. It's kind of weird. I feel like this is where we're going to get. I think one side's going to have Cody and Jay. Jimmy is going to be conflicted. And then there's somebody's going to be in there that doesn't need to be. Other side might. I think we're going to get Jay. Peep this. How about we get Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, teaming with also Raw's Finn Balor and Damian Priest against Kevin Owens, Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and who knows, it might be Sami Zayn. I think it's going to be very interesting if we get a wild card right there. I think it'll be like that. I could be wrong. Who the fuck knows? But not aside from that, let's get into our matches that were announced. We got LA Knight challenging Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and Logan Paul challenging Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title. I think these are high-class matches. I think these are, I think Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul is a one-sided story. I don't see what happens after, but you never know. It might be a rematch. When it comes down to LA Knight and Roman Reigns, I think this propels LA to be a little bit higher as far as his popularity goes, and now he's in the main event, going against one of the greats, one of the GOATs in Roman Reigns. But we'll do our picks on a later day. I'm your boy Jax. That is the end of our episode on Wrestling Talk on the Drop That Podcast. You can find us at youtube.com/Drop That Podcast. Also, X, formerly known as Twitter, at Drop That Pod Drop That Pod _13. Thank you for watching. I'm your boy Jackson. I'll see you next time. Later.